Greetings. I greet you all in the name of the Creator, the number one, the only one, the owner of the world. My name is Nuruddin Tijani. This is the Ministry of Truth, the Return of Light. In this video, I'm going to continue uh, the video that I made earlier today. This is a part two, talking about the untold stories, the untold truth about the creation story. So there might be a part three, but there's a chance there might not be, but most likely it's going to be a part three because there's still a lot of information to share. So let's get into it. So we talked about several questions in part one. If you haven't seen the first part, please take a look at it on my channel before you watch this one. I would recommend you do that. And if this is your first time coming across this channel, consider subscribing to join us on this journey of learning about our history through the lens of, uh, through the lens of etymology and wisdom from the Almighty. So, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. Please like the video and share it with anyone that you believe might find it interesting. So let's get into the next questions that we have concerning the truth about the story of creation. Like I said in my previous video, this information is really deep, and it actually encourages us to think more and go deeper into the understanding of the truthful history of creation according to the Bible. So the first question we'll talk about here is, where is the first created light, in or above or outside the firmament? So according to the Bible, we read in previous verses of the the book of Genesis 1 that the Almighty created the light. He says, "Let there be light," and He separated the lights from the darkness. So that wasn't the sun. So what kind of light was it? So the Almighty knows best. But in my opinion, according to the understanding that I have from the book of Genesis, the location of the light that was created before the sun is actually above the firmament. It's above the firmament, but it also shines onto the world, because here in the 14th verse it says, "And God said, let there be light in the vault of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years." So this is talking about the sun. Okay, it's talking about the sun, and it says it was created to be in the vault, in the firmament. So that's what we have here. The first light is outside of the firmament, above, also shines on the world, but the sun is created and put in the vault, in the firmament, and its task is to separate the day from night and let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. Now pay attention here. It actually says, let them. So actually right now, them is actually referring to not just the sun, but the moon and the stars. I'm going to get to it. We're going to see that in the very soon as I read further. So that's that. Now the next question is, it says, the next question says, if God already separated the day from the night, why then does verse 14 say the sun was created to separate the night from the day? So we read previously from the previous verses that the Almighty God separated the light from the dark, and then the dark, the light, the light and the day, the morning and the evening were used to count the day, the passing of the day. So he already separated the lights from the dark. But why again? Why again does he say that the sun was created to separate the day from the night? So this is a question to throw out to everyone there to think about this. Maybe there's something I don't understand, because he already said that he separated the dark from the light from the dark, and then here he says the sun is created to separate the day from the night. So if anybody understands the deep meaning behind this, please share. Now the next question says, what was created first, the sun or the moon or the stars, or were they created, or were they created simultaneously? So according to the next verses, we read as thus: God made two great lights. So that shows that the two lights were created simultaneously. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day and the lesser light to govern the night, talking about the sun and the moon. He also made the stars. So, and the stars also were all referring to them that was said here in this part of the verse. So let them serve as signs to mark sacred times and days and years. So referring to the sun, the moon, and the stars. So God set them in the vaults of the sky to give light on the earth. So the sun, the moon, and the stars are placed in the firmament of above us. Okay, so they're not far away in the galaxy somewhere, in space. They're actually in the firmament above us. That's why we see them every night, very close by. Sometimes you feel as though you can touch them. So God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good, and there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. Excuse me. So now the next question says, what came first, the chicken or the egg? So this is a very tricky question that I actually included in this video because it's a very popular tricky trick question about what actually came first, the chicken or the egg. So this we're gonna find out the truth about this question now. Let's continue reading. And God said, let the water teem with living creatures and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea and every living thing with which the water teems, and that moves about in it, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. So now, here it says the Almighty God created the creatures of the sea and the birds. So now, if we think closely, if we look closely to this verse, we realize that the Almighty created these animals with His command. Not the first creation of these animals, birds and the creatures of the sea, were not from reproductive procedure as we have in the world today. So the first creations were made through the miracle and the power of God. They were created by the power of God. They were created. We don't actually have the knowledge about how they were created per se, or what materials that was used or that were used. So it just said that they were created. It was a command, an oral command, and they were made. So the process of reproduction came later. Okay, so and that's why we understand that the answer to that question will be the chicken came first, not the egg, because before you can lay an egg, there has to be a reproductive process, which is a later day, reproduction process. That wasn't the first, creation process. So that's the answer to that question. Now the next question is, okay, now let me read forward a little bit so we can see that the reproduction process came later on. So it says that God made the animals according to their kinds, and livestock according to their kinds. All creatures moved along the ground according to the kinds, and God said it was good. Excuse me, I think I jumped a little bit. So I'm actually supposed to read from here. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and increase in number, and fill the water in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth." So now, increase in number will mean that they later on start to reproduce. Okay, the increment in number will understandably will be that when they began to reproduce, they began to increase in number. But the first creation was actually without reproduction, and we don't know how many birds were created at the beginning. We don't know how many animals of the sea were created at the beginning. But we know that they were made male and female. Okay, because they had to be male and female to reproduce. So that's an important thing to know. So moving on, the next question says, how many land creatures were made at first and what were they made from. So that's what I've just talked about now. So we don't know how many animals were made, how many land creatures were made, how many let me actually read further because I think the answer is still lies ahead. Verse 24 says, and God okay, verse 23 said, and there was evening and there was morning the fifth day. Number 24 says, and God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, the livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. God made wild animals according to their kinds, and livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. So now, like I said before, there was the first creation was without reproduction. The reproduction stage actually came later on. The Almighty knows best why He made it so. But the first creation tells us from the book of Genesis in the Bible that the creation came first and then reproduction. Creation before reproduction. So, but we don't know how many animals were made, how many species of animals were made, how many numbers of them were made to start the reproduction process later on, but we know that they're made male and female. All right, so now let's move on to the next question, and that is a very important question, which says, how many mankind were made at first and what were they made from? Male and female, He created them. So this is a very, very important question because so many people have wondered, was Adam and Eve the first human beings? If that was the situation, how did they reproduce? How did they become many? When Abel or was it Cain was kicked out from the garden? How did he get married and create the family outside the garden, and so on and so forth? So this is the proof. The answer is actually in the Bible because first of all, it says here that reading from chapter from verse 26, it says, then God said, let us make mankind. Now pay attention to this. Let us make mankind, it says, mankind. Okay, because later on it's going to say God created man, but in this verse in Genesis 2, it's going to say God created man, which is different, which I don't know. I don't want to be too forward with this knowledge because I don't want to say something that is incorrect. But I believe right now that mankind and man may probably be referring to different things because in Genesis 2, I'm going to get there in the next video by the grace of the Almighty. It talks about man being created from clay. But this mankind here, it says, then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So it's talking about a particular creator who was created to become the king of the world, king of the land, king of the jungle, king of the sea, to rule over the land, to rule over everything. So that's what it says here, to rule over the fish, the livestock, the birds, and everything, over all creatures that move along the ground. So that's the main purpose of the creation of mankind. So I call it mankind because there's probably a very big difference, or maybe not big difference, or maybe a difference between mankind and man, because that's what we read in the book of Genesis. So that's it. Now the question is, how many men were created, how many women were created? Because it says here that they were created male and female. It says here, male and female, He created them. Let me read from 27. So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. So now, this is a big proof that the first mankind, human beings, so to say, were created male and female, at the same time, and we don't know for certain how many of them were created. So this is a big proof. This is something that we've been missing, because many of us don't actually see the truth in this verses, actually, because it says there, male and female he created them, which means instantly mankind were created male and female, and we don't know for sure how many of them were created before they began to to reproduce, because it says here, God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. So here it says, increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it, rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living thing. Okay, I think I kind of like the screenshot wasn't extended to the last sentence there, but I believe that was saying. So yeah, that's it. It says, it's 28, living creature that moves on the ground. Living creatures that moves on the ground. So that's it, 28. So that's it. That's the big question. How many people, how many mankind, how many humans or mankind beings were created at first, before the process of reproduction? So because it said that God blessed them, and then it says be fruitful and increase in number, so which means the reproduction period actually occurred later. But how many of them were created then? So if that question is if you understand this to be that, okay, where are we, how did we get here, where are we from, then who are our real ancestors then? Because many people are actually asking this question, that if Adam and Eve were not the first you know mankind, so is there a difference between mankind and man? Can somebody actually help us with this question? Difference between mankind and man. Okay, because in Genesis 2, I'm going to make another video where we read about God made man from clay. So man, it says, but in this part it says mankind. So I pray to the Almighty for more understanding and wisdom on this issue. So that's it. Let's go to I think there's one more question that we should ask, and that is, what was the ordained food given to mankind and all living creatures on the earth? So this is another important information, another important piece of information, because today we eat almost everything that that we see. Of course, not everybody eats everything, but the fact that the Bible actually tells us what kind of food what kind of foods were ordained or given to mankind to eat. So it says here, let's read from 29. Then God said, I give you every seed bearing plant. So he said, every seed bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruits, and seed in it. So this is actually a proof that a fruit must have a seed. Okay, so because nowadays we tend to see some fruits of fruits without seeds. This is actually unnatural. Natural fruit must have seeds. That's a proof. This is a biblical proof that a fruit must contain seeds. Okay, so now they will be yours for food. So fruit, and I believe vegetables also, because plant also is a vegetable bearing plant, seed bearing plant. It's talking about plants and vegetables. That's what I believe. Fruits and vegetables, in my opinion. So these are the ordained food prescribed to mankind to eat. Okay, so no, we don't. I believe we're not supposed to eat. That's what I feel right now. Probably we're not supposed to eat meat. We're not supposed to eat kinds of food that are not, that are different from fruits, vegetables. So this is a big thing to ponder about, because if the Almighty said we should eat fruits that have seeds, plants, okay, so which means we have to adhere to that for good health, I believe. So, and to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. So it says here, all the animals also are given plants as food, not just mankind. other animals, other living creatures that move along the earth, everything that has breath of life in it, are given the green plants for food. Okay, so that's a proof here that the natural prescribed food for humans and animals living on earth are fruits and vegetables. Okay, plants. So now we in the world we eat everything, we eat meat, we eat, several things. I believe it's unnatural, but I some people would say that in the Bible that it's been or we've been allowed to eat meat, or some of the verse, maybe chapters of verse that says we can eat meat now. I don't know, but here naturally from the beginning we're not supposed to eat meat. We're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables and plants. So that's what the Almighty ordained at the beginning. So that's why I'm going to stop on this video. This is a part two. Like I said, I'm going to make make one more part. So I believe this is a very thought-provoking topic, and there's a lot we can learn from this by understanding the true meaning of the book of Genesis. The truth is actually right there. We just have to understand it. May the Almighty keep us safe and help us understand more about His words. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Salua.